and welcome to the Mindful Making podcast. This is a video podcast about making, and it's mostly about knitting, but in this episode number 16 there is also a bit of sewing, as one of the finished objects is a dress that I've made. You have landed here in my living room in Hornsby Heights, north of Sydney. My name is Jane and I'm Danish, and I've lived here in Australia for the last 8 years. As I said, this podcast is about knitting, and today I will share with you a finished object, which is the Agnes wrap. There's also talk about steeking and about unsuccessful steeking and how to repair and rescue a little girl's jumper. There is talk about what is on my needles as I'm working on sitting here talking to you, and also a future project, and then finally a bit about sewing, and lastly there are things that I love, which I started in the last episode. Welcome to you all, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and welcome to new viewers, and welcome to all the new Danish ladies who have joined me. Så velkommen til jer. En del af jer tror jeg er kommet over fra de skønne damer Merete og Helle fra de løse ender. Og tusind tak til jer, Merete og Helle, for shout-out i jeres sidste episode. Det har givet en del trafik til denne kanal, så det er jeg meget, meget taknemmelig for. Så tusind tak. Og velkommen til alle sammen. I hope you have your project ready, a cup of tea or coffee or a wine or whiskey, whatever you fancy, and that we can keep each other company for the next half hour or so, and doing a bit of knitting, making, and a bit of a chat. So let's get started. You can find me as Mindful Making on Instagram and on Facebook as well. On Ravelry, I am Mindful Making AU, and I also have an Etsy shop of that name, Mindful Making AU. So that's where you can find me. I would love to know where you are watching from. So if you wouldn't mind, put a comment down below and say where you're watching from. I know from the YouTube statistics that we are mostly women, or 100% women so far, and a lot of you watches from Denmark, and I'm pleased to have you here. I also know that there are Australian viewers, and there are some from Canada, UK, US, Norway, and there might be even more countries. So please let me know where you're watching from. I find that so interesting, and I find it so fascinating that we can connect over making via the internet, and we can just sit in our own living rooms and share our joy of making. So welcome, and let's jump into the finished objects. So yesterday evening I finished my mum's birthday present, which is the Agnes wrap. This is almost the Agnes blanket because it is huge. My mum asked for an Agnes wrap, and she said that she loved it because it looks like it was big and you could wrap yourself around it. It's just like a one big hug. And I made her a large wrap that she can wrap around her like a big hug. So let me just take you through this beautiful shawl. So I'll just fold it half. Whoop, can I see anything? So from one end to the other. Yeah. And towards the end. So I think it's 3 meters long It is cozy, soft, warm, gentle, and I think it would work. It will work really well when my mom, she turns 88 on the 1st of March. She still lives in the house that I was born in. It's a big house. She's doing well, um, and I can just imagining this sitting in her favorite chair, and she can wrap it around her shoulders and even over her lap on a cold night, and it's like having or giving a hug to her from Australia every time she wears it. So I might just as well try to wrap it around me so you could see how big and gentle and warm and delightful it is. Whoop! So around one shoulder, and I think this goes around twice on me. I just need to grab it over here. But you could just pin it down here, and then you would have a sort of a cape type wrap. Whoop! It's not easy when sitting on the couch, but it's warm, lovely, cozy, cozy, cozy. A big warm hug, 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 not a hog, hug. I have used 200 grams of the Holst Garn, which is a cotton wool, light fingering weight, and stranded it with a soft silk mohair. So it has a beautiful halo. Can you see that? I think 7 balls of 25 grams of the silk mohair is here. So now it's just a gentle wash, and I will ship it off tomorrow, and it will be on its way for my mom's birthday. Så tillykke med fødselsdagen, mor. Happy birthday, mom. That was one finished object. Another one is a little girl's jumper that I had sitting almost finished, and it's been sitting there for years. I'm trying to remember when it was done. I think I worked on it while we were living. It's probably 4 years old, so I was still living here in Australia. And it is the PRIKTRØJE by Lene Holme Samsøe, or directly translated dotted jumper. So it has some dotted pattern up here, and it's in the pattern, it's knitted back and forth, so knitted flat, but I wanted to do it in knit round, so I did that, and I put in steeking stitches in the middle, and I interchanged sort of the colors, and I used a crochet method, but this time it didn't work. So I will insert a little video and to show you the problem, and also how I fixed it with the sewing machine. So here we have the little dotted jumper that I tried to steek, but you can see here how the stitches are open, so the crochet method didn't work this time, or the steeking. It's not pretty, isn't it? As soon as it's worn, it will just drag out. So I'm trying to fix that problem. Let's see how I do that. So I am just pinning down the crochet edge and the cutted edge. I'm just slowly sewing inside the crocheted seam. So let's see if it helped this little beauty, if I really could use that. So see here now, the gap is gone.
So here I actually stopped here sewing because this works really well. It is a bit bulkier up here, yes it is, and I might sew that in so it just sits nicely. But hey, it solved my problem. I do have a cardigan that's just been sitting for years, and the alternative was to trash it, to just throw it out. But here it is. This is a bit tricky up here, but it works. I am happy. On to buttons. And here they are, small hearts down a little girl's stomach. I am happy. Now it will go into a short bath and be blocked, and then it's ready to send off for a little girl in Norway, and I hope it suits her and her parents.
So as you could see, it is possible to repair an unsuccessful steeking, so by just adding a sewing machine seam and putting in buttons and a wash and a block, and I could send it off as a gift to a new girl in our family, a new little girl baby in Norway. So it's gone up there for her christening and a welcome to this world gift. So that was on my the list of knitting plans that I had. So that's done. So that's on the ta-da list now. So that's done. Then moving on to what is on my needles. So this is the current design that I'm working on, and I wanted to do a super simple summer tee and just letting this beautiful yarn show off this beautiful yarn. So it's this one, and it is, I may call it the super simple summer tee. It's worked in this wonderful yarn, which is a super fine merino, 55% and then 45% silk. So it has this silk sheen to it and a beautiful subtle speckling in purple, pink, orange, yellow, and sometimes a bit of green as well. It's absolutely adorable, and I just wanted this yarn to shine. So I've just done a very simple neckline. I've raised the back, and then it will be a round yoke with invisible increases, short sleeves, and then sort of fairly short body. And I intend just to use one skein or one ball of yarn. So as you can see, the stitches are uneven here because this is the second time that I'm doing this. I had reached down to splitting for the sleeves, but something was wrong in my calculations, so I decided to rip it back and start all over again. But I hope these stitches will just even out when it is washed and blocked. I haven't done anything to it, so this is very simple. It's just knitting round, and I'm looking very much forward to that. I like a simple stockinette working around, so just knit. I can read at the same time, and I might have said that before, but I'm in a book club, so I have to read a book a month, and that may not seem a lot, but I want to knit as well, and I don't have all the time in the world, so usually I try and knit and read at the same time. So with a simple design like this, where you can just let your hands do their thing, and then you you can read at the same time and have the joy of both. So I'm looking forward to that. Currently we are reading Big Sister, Little Sister, Red Sister, about three powerful, very powerful sisters in the history of China. So I'm 30% in. Don't know whether I love the book. It is interesting. I find it interesting, the history, and it's a very well told story, but it is, let's see how far I get. I will plow on, and now that I have my knitting, it will go even faster. So that's on my needle, and I'll keep you posted on the progress, and maybe keep an eye out for a shout out for test knitters when I get that far, and have written up the pattern. It will take a while though, but here it is. I think it would be lovely in a linen as well. So I would love to do a linen version as well. Let's see how this comes out. I love the yarn, and I think I talked about it last time, but just get a recap. Glenhaven Knits, and it's the yarn, it's called Merino Decadence Lace, and the color is African Daisy. Absolutely love this. 800 meters in one skein. So it will be a short sleeved tee, and then sort of straight down, short, because I want to keep it just in one ball. So I'll keep you posted on that. I've just had a sip of coffee. It's coffee today. And the plans for the next knitting project in my list of things that I knew I had to do was another gift, and that's for my mother-in-law. So I have dug into my stash to see if I could find suitable yarn that I could use for a project for her. She loves blue, so I thought I would find something blue for her. And I have done the, I have these leftovers from my Cumulus blouse. So it's a Sandnes silk mohair in a lovely cobalt blue. And I also have a bit left over of the super silk mohair from Knitting for Olive in the color Cloud Himmel. So I thought these two together, and then, oops, I'm sitting on the yarn. And then I have this beautiful sock yarn, also from Glenhaven Knits. And I think on the screen it looks more blue than it is in reality. It's very sort of minty green. And I thought holding it together with these two, and now this is a balancing act. And then I have a leftover of, this is another sock yarn, and I can't remember where it's from. I think this is from Circus Tonic Handmade, and it's the Kibili, some bird name. So I thought I could probably do something with these four, and I'm thinking a birds of a feather type shawl. So what do you think? Would that work? Or would it be too busy? I think it would work well. So with her birthday is the 22nd of March. So I better get that on, and then my super simple summer tea will have to wait till I've done this. I like it. I think it will work well for her. It's her colors, so I think that will be the next project. So I think that's all for the knitting section of this episode, and let's move in then into the sewing world. I don't sew very much. I have sewn a lot for my Etsy shop, where I have made produce bags, which are mesh bags that you can use for grocery shopping, to put fruit and vegetables in, instead of using those plastic bags that you just tear off the roll. And I've sewn a lot of those, and they're still available in the Etsy shop if you want to have a look. And also these project bags that I make, using my grandma's beautiful blocks, and then line it with thrifted fabric, so there are different colors inside. So these are my favorite project bags. Whoops. There. So they are available in the Etsy shop if you're interested. But I have a dress from Masai, which is a Danish clothing company, and I loved it very much, but then unfortunately it got this big brown stain on the back, and it was from sitting from a newly oiled pool deck. It was a bit wet, so that color pigment from the oil just rose into the fabric, and I couldn't get it off. I couldn't wash it off. So I put in some pictures of what the dress looked like, and what I did then was to pull it apart. So I had the little, whatever it's called, that needle that you rip the seams with, and so I took it out in pieces, and I used that as my pattern. And then I made this dress, which is a copy of the Masai dress. So let me just try and stand up, and this might be very messy when I'm on the couch, but let's see. So it's very sort of open in the top. It's fairly it's easy, and just adding this hem on the collar and on the sleeves, and then it's just sewn to the top section here, and then there is a whoop. And then there is this elastic band on the back, and it's an easy fit. It's a summer. It's open drapey, and I had some light cotton fabric sitting in my stash, and it is probably 10 years old. And you know, my stash has just been sitting there for so many years. It's not just one or two, it's 10, 15, 20. It's quite embarrassing, but it felt so good to wrap it and make something useful out of it. So I've worn this a few times. It suits very well our summer climate here. It's light, easy, airy. I would like to do a linen version as well. I have some dark blue linen that I want to make a similar dress. I might open this tiny bit. It is a bit tight around here on the shoulders, but otherwise it will just be the same, and I think that will fall sort of the weight of the fabric will just pull it down and slim it up a bit, because this is a bit poofy, I think, but yeah, I like it. So if you have a piece of clothing, a garment that you really love, but something's wrong, or it has a stain, or it's been ripped and it can't be repaired, then consider whether you want to pull it apart, and then you can sew and use it as a pattern to sew up a new version of maybe a favorite dress or skirt or something. So I liked it. You know, it was reusing my dress that otherwise I couldn't wear. It was making a new dress that I love and using a fabric from my stash. So it's a win, 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 3 wins. Yep. I love my new dress, and I will make a few more. So an idea for you as well, if you want to do that. Then I, the word, well, I don't know whether you know, but if you've watched the last episode of the Mindful Making podcast, I talked about the word for 2020 for me, and my word is simplify. And I think it also comes back to, as I mentioned, my stash is bursting at its seams, yarn and fabric, and also everywhere, we have things. So it's not just, to get rid of things, but that's one part of it, but it's to reduce the pressure and the expectation and allowing me to relax more and to focus. So I meet up with some friends, some current and previous colleagues that I call my friends, a beautiful group of lovely ladies, and we meet up once a month, and one of them asked me, "Oh, so how are you going with simplifying?" And then I was just I don't know. No, sometimes I have a tendency to just write up the headline and not necessarily going into details of how I want to achieve it. And maybe that's why I sometimes feel skuffet, which is discontented that I don't think I achieve what I want, but maybe it's just because I've set out this goal, but I haven't actually specified how to get there. So that made me think that, okay, how will I do this to feel simplification? So then I said to myself, okay, I would do 15 minutes of tidying up every day. And sometimes, if I have more times, then I have done my 15 minutes for several days. And I did my closet, my wardrobe. That was where I started. I'll put in a before and after pictures. Not that big a difference, but it felt good. And the 2 large bags of clothes I delivered into the op shop after it has been sitting here in the living room for 2 weeks. So it's also to get it out of the house, to get, so you can breathe the air again, and it's just getting sort of lighter feeling. So I enjoyed that very much. One shelf is where my knitted garment sits, and that was full to the brim. And then I had to get rid of hand knitted garments as well. And I'm just wondering, we put so much effort in knitting up these beautiful jumpers that it's hard to say goodbye. But at the same time, I want to knit more for myself, and I want there to be room for it to be there. So I don't know how you feel about, giving away your handmade garments. How do you do that? Is it easy or is it difficult? Do you give it to friends? Do you gift it to or hand it over to op shops? Or do you try to sell it? So I have decided to try to sell some of them and just get a bit of money back. It won't cover neither the yarn costs nor my time. It's just to get a bit of appreciation of what I've done. And if it doesn't sell, then I will hand it over to the op shops. So I'm actually okay with that, because there are some garments that worked well at the time, but now it's not what I want anymore. So I might at the end just put in the pictures of those that I will be selling. So now I think the batteries is running out. So this is where I have to stop. So what I will end with is just things that I love. I love the sound of empty garbage bins when rolling them back to the house on Thursday morning. I love the sound of the words intentionality and serendipity. I love clean sheets. I love closed cupboard doors. I love the grass has turned green again. We have had some beautiful rain lately, so it's just amazing how the leaves turn green again and everything blossoms and everything grows. It's amazing. So in the description box, I put in a few examples of podcasts that I've looked at lately. It's been very much in the veins of minimalism and tidying and cleaning and stuff like that. So I want to share those. And knitting wise, I can highly recommend De Løse Ender, which is a Danish podcast. So it's mostly for you Danish ladies. And I also love the ladies from Babystrik. I'm looking into further English speaking podcasts, and I will share my recommendations with you next time. So I think I will wrap it up now and say thank you so much for being with me on this Sunday, the 23rd of February 2020. I hope you had a wonderful time and had a bit of knitting done. I hope to see you soon, and press thumbs up, the like and subscribe, and also click the little bell so you get notifications when there are new episodes up, so you won't miss out. So I hope to see you soon, back soon. So have a lovely day, month, and happy making. Bye bye.